truly golden moment. Delicately finds Ramsey. He can shoot now. Oh, it's a delightful finish. 10th goal of the season for Aaron Ramsey.
Should have been over the ball by the looks of it. No, he's still got it.
Right now, though, Walcott, off a chance. What are we going to see? Theo Walcott smashing Arsenal in front of Stamford Bridge. Giroud, back to Podolski. That is an absolute stunner. Looks as if it was but, I think it's needed at the moment. The ball hit Van Persie. What a goal that was! Sheer quality for Robin Van Persie, fouled by Son. Santi Cazorla! Arsenal 1, Hull 2. A classic free kick. Sanchez. Oh, Sanchez has scored an absolute beauty.
Hello and welcome to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast. I am your host, Tez. You can get me at Gooner Tez. You can get the show at The Clock and Talk. And I'm probably coming in very, very heavy here at the moment because I'm in the little man cave and I'm not sure if I'm echoing. But Tony, you'll let me know. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Is that a new intro?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You didn't think to make it shorter than about 3 hours?
No. You know what? I gave myself a bit of time to press live, so I'm meant to actually, press live and then cut it in at a minute. But I'm like, oh, I fucked up. And anyway, no one's meant to know I fucked up, but you're always like, yeah, what's the go? How you been anyway, mate?
Yeah, I got COVID at the Euros final and England didn't win them, so that was brilliant. But yeah, apart from that, all good. Back on my feet now. Tested negative from last Thursday. Went to the Emirates Sunday, and then pretty much at full strength. And obviously, I tweeted today I got tickets to Arsenal Brentford first game of the season, which will be the hardest tickets to get this season. So I was pleased to get them. Me and my mates are going first away game, and it'll be a year and a half. So obviously, part of my identity really is being a football fan that goes to games. So it'll be good to properly get back, and especially as part of an away fan base. So things are looking up.
That's good, mate. And glad to hear that you have recovered well. And COVID has reared its ugly fucking head back up, because here we are obviously Australia, but Sydney is copping about 200 cases a day. Queensland has shut down their borders. People aren't at work. People can't go to work. So hopefully we're here now to entertain you for a little bit this morning for those in Australia. But I just in my punting groups and a lot of blokes who are really struggling. So, and my DMs are always open for you lads. If you need a chat or something, I'm always here. So
Mine are closed.
hectic.
Don't DM me. Mine are closed.
No, but it is pretty hectic, mate. And a lot of blokes are, they're feeling the pinch at home. The pressures on from the wives saying, like, we've got no money. Things are tough.
Yeah, I think we're on the other side of that. Obviously, we had such a long lockdown, but now we're completely lawless. Not lawless, but I mean, in terms of COVID, we're completely not like normal. There's no laws at all. So I know exactly what you're talking about. We've been through it. Myself and as a country, but now we're just there. Yeah, there's nothing.
I've organised to bring on a couple of listeners. I opened this podcast up to listeners today who subscribe to Patreon, because you guys are awesome, and you guys look. I appreciate everything and sticking with us for the last 2 years, because I've had my own little demons and my own little battles as well with health. So I feel though I'm bouncing back really well. This is probably the best I've felt and been in the last 2 years. So hopefully I'm back. And thank you for you guys for sticking with the show and sticking with us as well. Vignac, that's you, brother. How are you, mate?
I'm good. It's so nice to hear from you guys. I haven't been active in the Arsenal circles for quite a bit because of a multitude of reasons. But yeah, it's nice to catch up with you guys.
Where are you at, mate? Like,
So so actually, part of why I haven't been subscribing to the Patreon and I haven't been kind of very active is I took up a rural posting job some time back, but
hmm,
that didn't work out. My mental health was kind of all over the place, so I decided to take a little bit of a break from everything. So I kind of
yep.
am taking a step back from medicine right now. I'm kind of doing other things and trying to figure out what I want to do.
I
I'm
think
currently
I've lost.
doing a lot of stand up on Clubhouse,
Yeah, wow.
and yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. So I'm now a creator for a clubhouse known as the Comedy Lounge. So that is a lot of fun,
Yeah,
and that's pretty
great.
much me right now. Thanks, guys.
Enjoy it, mate, and it's great to see that. Because I know you're a doctor and you've probably gone through some amazing stories yourself. You'd probably have to share, but um, yeah, it's good on you, mate, and then hopefully the comedy stuff does work out for you. So it's good. I'll have to grab a link off you later and have a little bit of a listen, mate.
Absolutely.
And okay, let's get into some Arsenal chat because that's what we're here for. We've got a Manchester United fan, a mate of mine over there in England, Leith. How are you, buddy? If COVID gets a football team together, it's a real good chance of winning the league. Manchester United fans, they are fucking cheeky at the moment, like real cheeky. You know, they've signed some amazing, amazing players, and uh, are they going to win the league, Tony? Because they think they will. Is it enough?
No, they're a long way away, and I'm not just saying that because United fans are listening. They've been so lucky because they've brought Sancho to play on the right where he's nowhere near as good. Then Rashford
Mm.
gets injured, so now Sancho's going to start on the left and he's going to hit the ground running. I think they've got quite nice fixtures, and then yeah, you kind of built into it by then. They're having problems with the keeper because they'd promised Henderson first choice or he was off. They can't sell De Gea because he's earning too much. But then now Henderson's suffering from long COVID, so it looks like De Gea is going to start the season, and that sort of settles that issue for them. They've had a few things fall into place. I think it'll be interesting to see how Maguire and Varane work together, to be honest. Especially with if it looks like if they keep Wan-Bissaka, which looks likely at the moment, with Wan-Bissaka on that side, because his covering around the back isn't fantastic. But their midfield's just not strong enough to win the league. It just isn't. And also, I really rate Cavani. I've always said that on here. His movement is the best I've ever seen. Is he
He's
the
brilliant.
man? Yeah, but I don't think over a 38-game season plus Champions League, when he's their only real striker, he's the man to fire you to a title. Look,
Yeah.
they should get top four, but then I also still don't really rate Ollie, and I know that's contentious for most Man United fans. But
I think that's my
yeah,
biggest problem is Ollie. And
yeah,
I seen he signed a new contract, and I thought, oh shit, they're really putting the whole like season behind him and saying that we're supporting him. But I'm dubious. I don't know. I'm just real dubious of it.
yeah. I mean, look. They kind of had to because of how they performed last season. They exceeded expectations, especially in the league. But yeah, for me, he's not the man to take them back to a title. And as I said, I think they're short anyway. I think if you look at what Liverpool are capable of at 100%, if you look at what City are capable of, not even 100%, even if they have 5 or 6 injuries. And I mean, Chelsea aren't, for me, going to do as well as everyone thinks. Everyone's going, oh, European champions are going to challenge for the title, but they're a long way off in the league. But they're always going to be tight at the back, and teams that are tight at the back traditionally do well because they don't concede many goals. So if you're looking for a title charge United, there's no way for me they finish above all 3 of them teams. I think they'll do well to finish second. I think if they finish second, I think they've had a good year, to be honest.
Okay. Hey, boys, I'm sorry to do this, and I know we are live, but you wouldn't fucking believe it. I got some tradie knocking at my door. So, Tony, can you just take over the reins for 2 seconds? I wanted to talk a little bit about Martial and things, while we're talking United. But, mate, can I be back in like 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'm just going to go into Arsenal stuff because I don't really care about United.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'll be back.
Yeah. So obviously we've been linked with him, her, and absolutely everyone. But what I'm going to go on to first, Vignac, is all the rumours today. It's not been announced by the club, but it seems Xhaka has signed a new deal, either 2-year extension or a 1 year plus a 1 year option, depending on who you believe. What's your thoughts?
I mean, this absolutely does my head in. It just I kind of understand, but we still need to get at least one or two, maybe one or two other people. I don't want Xhaka to be the starting central midfielder. Uh, and we kind of saw why that was the reason when we played Chelsea and how we struggled despite Xhaka being there. I mean, a lot of it is going to be like, he scored a header, he's a leader, blah, 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 the same old narrative. And I'm not saying that he is bad or he's as bad as most people make him out to be. He's very limited. We're going to have the same problems that we had. Uh, you know, he can't carry the ball, he can't turn, he predominantly passes to the left. He's, anybody who's pressed right up to him is going to nick the ball off and put us under pressure. Uh, so yeah, I'm not thrilled about this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think slightly differently. I agree he's not the man to take us towards a title charge, but that's not where we are. But for me, if I was to list the issues in the squad and importance of sorting them, he would be quite low down the list. So I'm not saying I'm elated by the new contract, but I'm also not angry about it. I'm not disappointed about it. Obviously, I see fans' anger, and I think it's a bit over the top. I understand people don't like him, but as for me, that there's a hell of a lot more pressing issues. And one of the things that Xhaka doesn't get credit for is he's always available. And you look at Partey, who's missed pretty much half the games since he's been here. You look at El Neni, and I'm not even entertaining anyone that thinks El Neni's better than Xhaka. That's just not a conversation I'm willing to have. Lokonga, okay, looks good, but he's never played in anything like this competitive, and he's young, and he's only appeared in friendly. So you look at him right now, and for me, he's our number one midfielder, and not Partey is obviously better, but you have to rank availability as well.
Yeah,
So for me, I'm just nowhere near annoyed about this. As I said, for me, a right back is a much more pressing issue. The keeper is a much more pressing issue. And a striker is a much more pressing issue. So for me, the centre midfield replacement is fourth on our list of priorities. And if you're going to accept you can't get them all done, I would rather get 1, 2, and 3 done and keep Xhaka than get 4 done and then maybe miss out on a keeper or a right back or whatever. So for me, the anger from people is over the top, even though I understand it.
Yeah. So I look at it a little differently. Even if we were to keep Xhaka, I don't think the construction of the midfield is anywhere near what it needs to be to get top 4. And the way I look at it is I don't see keeper as that big of a priority. Maybe a second choice.
Sorry,
but
did you say keeper?
Yeah, I said I don't think.
No, I just didn't hear. I didn't hear. I wasn't questioning. I just didn't hear.
Yeah, I don't think keeper is as pressing as a central midfielder is. I think if we were smart enough, we would not go for Maddison or someone of that sort. If we're looking at Maddison as a 10, but if we're looking at Maddison as an 8, it looks like a good enough option. But there are better players on the market at that price point. And I wouldn't want to see a midfield with Xhaka starting. And I don't know, right back seems like a pressing issue. A striker, I have many opinions about this. Maybe we can get into that a little later.
Yeah, boys, I've just come back and just listening to your thoughts there. Tony, thanks for taking that show over, buddy. Granted, I caught a little bit of the end of what you were talking, Tony, about the hatred. I I'll be honest. I think I said during the week in the Telegram chat, I said I don't understand why or what gives us the idea that we can hate a player. Like, you fucking sit there and think about hate for a minute, and it doesn't even register in my brain. Like, I cannot sit there and think of any player I hate. Okay, but am I going to be critical of his
Have you ever seen Bernd
performances?
Leno play?
I don't hate him. I'm critical of his performances, absolutely, but I don't hate the bloke. And I don't understand what the hatred is towards Granit. I don't what is it? Because he told you all to get fucked at the stadium, or what is it? Like, I don't get it. Like, he's been that player for 3 years, 3 seasons or something, mate. Is it 4? Maybe 4. But like, I just don't. I don't understand it. I don't know what people want. People also talk about their new signing. What's his name? Sambi.
Lokonga.
Yeah, and I don't know nothing about this bloke, so I'm not going to sit there and go, "Well, he's the new best thing for our midfields," because I don't think I've seen the bloke play. I might have watched him one game somewhere, but I didn't think, oh shit, Arsenal sign him. Oh yeah, fucking beauty. Like, and everybody seems to think he's the God's gift to fucking football all of a sudden. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean,
I really don't get it.
The Lokonga stuff's been based on basically, I don't know, 45 minutes, give or take, in pre-season. And I've seen people saying he looks good, and he does, but I've not seen people saying, oh, he should be a guaranteed starter. In terms of the Granit hate, and obviously I'm far from one of them people, but it's just a build-up of many things. Like, especially like press narrative's always been his discipline's bad. It really isn't, but people believe what they read, and it becomes fact. Then he does obviously make them howlers, which stick in people's heads. Has bad performances, it sticks in people's heads, and then all of them things become facts that happened all the time. Like, you speak to some people and they go, oh, he gets sent off every week. He makes mistakes every game, like huge mistakes, that cause goals. And then they start making up numbers that become fact. I was actually looking at on Twitter the other day, and 2 blokes were arguing about it. I can't remember who it was. And one of them was like, he's made 26 mistakes that led to goals, and he's been sent off. He gets sent off all the time. And someone went, well, in 6 years, he's been sent off 3 times, which is below the average. Not below the average, but for a combative centre midfielder, it's not a horrendous number. And 2 of them were in the first year. And then they went, and I've got it down as 12 mistakes, whatever it was. I mean, I'm not defending it and saying it was a good number, but the guy was like, oh, I've got it down as 12. Where have you got 26 from? And he was like, oh, yeah, I read it online. Oh, okay, yeah. So, but that's now become fact, because he's read it online. Now he's spreading it, and he had quite a big following. So then his followers go, fuck's sake, 26 mistakes leading to goals. And then before you know it, it's like, it's not fact, but it's the common thing that people go, oh, Xhaka costs us a goal every week. So I'm not
going to sit here and say there's not weaknesses. Yeah.
Oh, no, of course. I'm saying there's a few factors with the hate that they just kind of add up, even they might not be true.
Yeah, and I think I am critical of him. I don't hate him. To his credit, he is one of the better players in the squad, and that is a more damning indictment of what our squad is like, rather than Granit.
I just don't know how many more, like, what's the alternative, right? Like, Granit looked like he was heading to Roma. I'm reading reports. I'm no ITK or anything. I'm reading reports. Roma's bid was nowhere near the valuation of Arsenal, which would look, for me, I'm both. I sit both sides of the fence. So for me, I'm like, I want him cheap, but I don't want him. You know what I mean? Like, so I want a fair evaluation, and I thought around the 25, 30 mil was probably.
They never went above 12.
They didn't go. That's what I was
12,
getting at.
That's
they
crazy.
Didn't go above 12. Like, that's crazy. Like, even if you don't like Granit and you sign him on a new contract and play him on the bench, is still better than taking 12.
Well, this is where, like, obviously a lot of people dislike Arteta and Edu, and they dislike everything about the club, but they're Arsenal fans apparently. This is where they couldn't win, because you sell him for 12 and it's like, fuck's sake, we don't know how to sell players. You don't sell him, but then keep him, and then he goes for free or next to nothing like 3 and 2 years or next to nothing next year, and they go, oh fuck's sake, another player leaving under value, or you extend the contract, which is what they've done. We assume. I think it'll be announced in the next couple of days from what the press are saying, and it's like, for fuck's sake, we're rewarding mediocrity, and he's getting another deal, and I'm like, so basically, whatever option the club chose, you were going to moan. So this it doesn't matter. Like, whatever happened, you was going to moan. So just moan anyway. It didn't matter what they done.
This is a weird situation that everyone's in, including Granite. I mean, who wouldn't want a contract extension when you are, when you make your livelihood off of contract extensions and you've done fairly well? And what do you do in a market like what do you do in a market like the market is right now? It's after the Euros, COVID hit. Most clubs in Europe don't have money. And that can be gauged from the fact that someone like Varane went for what is absolute peanuts, because it's 42 million, and that is dirt cheap for Varane.
He's only got a year left, and he was refusing to sign. He's also on 350k a week. But
yeah, I mean, in terms of transfer fees.
Well, I mean, the market's a mess right now. There's no. I was saying to someone the other day when I was at the Arsenal game, actually, there's not been a big sale in the Premier League, apart from, obviously, you can argue why. There's not been a big sale out of the Premier League. Like, I think the biggest was Tomori, which was a loan that was agreed, like loan with an obligation, or no, sorry, a loan with an option. It's just like the money's not about in Europe. There's just been nothing. Like, even if you look at teams like, say, Barcelona, I know they've got their financial trouble, but they've basically all been frees. Like, obviously they got Aguero, they got Depay, and there was someone else, can't remember who it was, but like they're just on freeze, and no one's spending money. Even PSG, they spent 70 on Hakimi, but then they got Wijnaldum, Donnarumma, and Sergio Ramos for nothing. The outs, I mean, we're obviously more focused on the Premier League. They're just not happening. There's just, and I saw someone say
there isn't much.
They're dying to get.
I'll be honest.
The door.
I was thinking during the week, Tony, that 50, and I don't know if he's touched on Ben White when I walked away, but 50 million, I'm thinking that's probably the biggest transfer I've seen at the moment.
What total? No, Sancho or Hakimi.
Oh, Sancho, of course. Yeah. Sorry, but
yeah,
like, I haven't seen
everything's been coming apart from the one PSG transfer, which obviously PSG laws don't really apply to them. There's been no big sales, like, as I said, especially from the Premier League. So all of the clubs are struggling. It's why the transfer activity has been down, because they can't sell their players. So obviously Liverpool brought Konate, and then they've been struggling like fuck to get rid of loads of that, like the Origis, the Shaqiris, I think Harry Wilson deal went through now, but them sort of players, they can't get rid of them. You look at United, I don't think they've made a single sale. Chelsea has said that Tomori, which was already done basically. And then they've sold a few youth team players that they didn't really want to let go. Like, the guy went to Southampton today, Tino Livramento, I think is pronounced. They didn't want to let him go, but he wanted football, and they lost someone else last week to Leeds that they didn't want to let go. I'd never heard of him, but they're big fans of him. But it's just like they want to play football. So Chelsea are only getting basically rid of players they don't want to get rid of. They're trying to get rid of other players, but just the money's not there. Man United haven't sold anyone. Liverpool haven't sold anyone. City haven't sold anyone. We haven't sold anyone. Tottenham haven't sold anyone. And you can't say all these clubs want all of their players. Like, you've got Aurier, Sissoko, like just a Lucas Moura that Tottenham would more than happy get rid of. Obviously, they sold Alderweireld to the Middle East, but teams just can't get rid of their players, and it's affecting what's happening on the buy-in side of things as well.
I think that's going to be a big move that's going to set a lot of moving pieces in motion is the Harry Kane deal, if that goes through, and maybe Grealish.
That's going to be interesting.
Going to have money to play with.
Yeah, Jack Grealish, has it been announced?
No, so Villa have offered him a new contract. City, as far as I know, City, they can get it done basically whenever, but I think they're trying to figure out a way to get both. And while they're stalling, Villa are trying to convince Grealish that basically they don't really want him, as in City don't really want him. So it's not. It's one of them deals that at the moment isn't particularly close, but it could be done in 2 hours, sort of thing. If City press the button, it's done. But even then, I don't think that has too much of a knock-on effect because they've already brought Buendia and Leon Bailey.
Yeah,
That's basically the money gone. They're trying to sign Tammy Abraham. They're trying to sign Axel Tuanzebe.
Where's
but
Leon Bale? What'd you say about Leon Bale?
Yeah, the guy
Villa.
from Leverkusen, he's really good.
Yeah, he's really good. Where'd you say he's going?
He's going Villa. I disagree about him being really good, but he's going to Villa.
Yeah, okay. I like him as a player. That's all. So
I like
yeah.
him. He can play left back, left midfield, left wing. Fairly
Can't get in the
decent.
Leverkusen team, but I'm not a fan. He's too inconsistent. But anyway, there's still, so for me, I think the Grealish money has basically already been spent when you look at 40 Buendia, 35ish, 30 to 35 on Bailey. As I said, they're looking at Abraham, who I don't really think wants to go there. Tuanzebe, they've got issues with how much minutes they can give him. So it's between them and Newcastle. But because Tuanzebe doesn't think he'll get in the team above Konsa and Mings. But that's basically the Grealish money gone if it happens. And it'd be interesting if Grealish doesn't go, what Villa do, because obviously they're splashing money about. Not only money, but they can't play Bailey, Buendia, Grealish all at the same time, especially when you think they've already got El Ghazi, Traore, Trezeguet. So then they're going to have a fire sale for under the value that they should be getting. And again, foreign teams aren't buying players. So even the players that you think are maybe worth 15, the foreign teams can't really even afford to pay 10 for them. So then you get to the point where we got to with Xhaka, or where you think a player is worth 15, the foreign teams are offering 8 and 7, and then you're like, well, do we even sell them at that price? We don't need them, but sort of, what do we do? And it's a real messy market because the foreign teams, especially, just can't afford to buy anyone.
Hmm. William, he was. I seen earlier in the week he was looking at a transfer out. Who was it with?
It was to a Saudi or a Middle Eastern team.
Al
but-
Ahly, I think it's in Qatar
Yeah,
or it's
but
in Saudi.
I'm not sure if that's that, but I'm not even sure if it was true. It was just one journalist come out and basically said it was done, and then
Yeah, okay.
nothing else off the back of it. So, and then obviously a load of other journalists come out and said it wasn't true, and there has been no link. So I don't know. I don't even think it was true because them, like, because football's not so big in them countries, you don't tend to get the rumor mill as such. Like with Alderweireld, it was kind of like he was going there, and the next day he was on the flight, and then the next day the deal was announced. You don't get this 2-3 week build up because it's not. They don't have the rumor mills there because it just doesn't happen. So yeah, I'm not sure about the Willian news being true, but even then, it wouldn't really bring us much in terms of transfer fees. It would just get wages off the book and a position in the squad available.
Just looking at Big Money McShane, he's commented it's only an extra 1 year on his already existing contract. Can't be seen as a negative thing, surely. And he's talking about Granite. And look, I agree. If it's a 1 year,
so do I. I mean, it's either a 2 year extension or a 1 year extension with a 1 year option. I agree. I think you kind of got to protect the value of the asset, especially as I said, someone he's gonna play, and if he becomes third choice, so be it. But with how available he is and how available everyone else never is, even if he's third choice, he'll still probably play more games than everyone else.
Vignac, I want your thoughts because I know you're like, you don't hate Granite like I hear a lot of people, but you are pretty judgmental when it comes to his performances. Maddison is one we're talking about. If that deal happens, I like Maddison. I think he'll slip in really well. However, where else are we looking, or what are you thinking about, and how much money are you willing to spend?
So, no. I'm absolutely okay with Xhaka being a rotation option. I don't think from a squad construction point of view, Granite as a starting midfield, as a part of a starting 3 in that midfield works, because then you're going to have all of these problems. Teams will come and press you. And when he applies himself, like that FA Cup run, his head was on a swivel all of the time. There was great application. He was moving the ball, a lot of first-time passes. And that is probably the best I've seen Xhaka play. That game against Man City, or basically that FA Cup run towards the end. And then it kind of dipped off and he was back to his levels I don't hate Xhaka, but from a squad building point of view, even if Xhaka stays, which I'm like, okay, I don't really like it, uh, but I understand why it happened. And like it's Tony said, right? We could sell him for less. People would mourn. We're keeping him. People are still mourning. I'm sort of not very happy about it. Uh, but we still need one or two people. And if we do Odegaard, great. I still like Sangaria a whole lot. There are some other players who, I mean, Kamavinga was never going to happen, but I think Sangaria is a good deal that could happen for us. There's that guy Mupuye that Leicester got for about 25. That guy is really good. So there are deals that are there to be done. I don't like the Neves links. I don't think he's that much of an upgrade on Granit Xhaka.
He's a downgrade.
Yeah, he's a downgrade. I love Locatelli, but I don't think that's going to happen given Juve and Sassuolo's relationship. It's just a matter of time before they agree on something. Though I really like how the club is thinking in terms of that. And purely in terms of construction and how Arteta wants to play and how most of the things good in football happen in transition these days. I don't know if Xhaka being in part of that midfield three gives us, top four.
Mm-hmm. Because El Neni's there, he's there as a backup, and I think he'll remain that. I just trying to get my head around a little bit. Like this Sambi kid, I don't know. He might be the bee's knees. I don't know. But, Party's out injured now. Granit is there. Hate him or like him or hate him, he's there and he's going to play. I still think we do need one more there, definitely, if we're going to play around Granit. But then keep in mind, we don't have no European football this year. So how deep do we have to be, Tony?
Well, look, for me, I don't know if you was listening when I said it or if you was off doing your thing, but for me, we do need another body, but for me, it's the fourth on the list of problems. So obviously, then it depends, maybe even fifth, depending on how you see the 10 situation. Probably the fifth in level of importance, and we're not going to get 5 issues sorted in less than a month. So I would imagine if we do get another body in, it won't be a guaranteed starter, but then it's difficult because you've kind of brought Sambi in as the next big thing, or you're gonna try and bring through and give minutes. It's a tough one because, as I said, if you rated players on a mixture of availability and ability, Granit is our best midfielder. He's obviously not as good as Partey, but he's available every week. So, I mean, as I said, he's streets ahead of El Neni and Lokonga. We don't know yet, and no one's claiming he's ready to start every week in the Premier League. So I think we need another body there. But for me, the goalkeeper is the most pressing issue. The guy's a clown. Like it's just embarrassing. We actually can't play football with him.
I don't agree with that, but then I mean, let's look.
I
don't
like him.
It's just silly. What's the point of playing a ball-playing centre-back and you've got a keeper that's allergic to the football? It's actually insane. Like, I've disliked Leno for a long time, and I know it was only a friendly, and I don't really base on friendlies. I only went to sort of have a laugh with my mates and get back to football. But I was watching it the other day, and I was like, what even are you? You do nothing, ever. Like, you just give the ball away consistently. His pass completion for a keeper must be the worst in the world. It's insane. So for me, that's the most pressing issue. We play a ball playing centre back with a guy who can't give the ball.
There's a rumor about us wanting Martinez back, isn't it? And that just makes things worse.
I mean, we should never. Look, honestly, I've said this before. Anyway, I'll take Sam Johnson as our number one. And people go, he got relegated, blah blah blah. Don't care. Leno's shit.
I mean, we're after that.
Who are we linked to? Who are we linked to in the cut? I seen one the other day.
No, but he can't play until basically February.
There was another one in the Premier League.
Sam Johnson and Aaron Ramsdale are the other two.
Oh, Ramsdale, that's it.
Oh God,
I don't mind Ramsdale.
The Ramsdale links, I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, especially for the money.
25 million? Oh God.
Yeah, more than that, I think.
25 million.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, and I think 25 is what they're saying we've bid. Sheffield are holding on for 30 or something like that.
Well, they paid 19 for him a year ago. I know they got relegated, but he's a young keeper. He's since become an England international. So I kind of understand their stance. I don't agree with it, and I don't agree he's worth anywhere near 30. I wouldn't be paying that for him. I'd be buying Sam Johnson for 10 million all day long. But I also get where Sheffield United are coming from. He's a young keeper with a year's worth more of experience in terms of Premier League. Played every week, I think. I don't think he had any injuries or suspensions. And then he's now an England international. So I fully get where they're coming from, but I wouldn't be paying it.
but
Tony and me, I think.
let me throw
Tony and
another
me-
name at you. Joe Willock, 22 million. Who in
I
the
think that's
fuck is
light.
paying that?
I think that's light.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind Joe Willock being given a run in this team. I think his game has developed a little more. If we don't get a 10, I mean, I think he could play as the more advanced midfield of the three in certain situations.
I think he would kill all attacking situations. You can't link. I think Joe Willock's a very good player, just not for Arsenal and never will be for Arsenal.
Mhm.
Like one of my friends is one of my customers, a Newcastle fan, and when they signed him, he said, "What do you think?" I said, "If you get him to make late runs into the box and not rely too much on the ball in midfield, he'll be brilliant." And I said he'll work for Newcastle because they play Maximin on one side, Wilson through the middle, who's hold up and running off the ball is decent, Almer on the other, and Willock can arrive late. He was always going to do well there, but I don't think he'll ever be worth as much as he is now. Newcastle are struggling financially, otherwise the deal would have already been done. He's been one of the players linked in the Maddison swap, and I know Leicester quite like him. I just, as I said, I think there's a very good player in Willock. I just don't think there's an Arsenal player, which is a shame.
I wouldn't mind Joe Willock leaving. Like for 22 million, I think that's a great deal for Arsenal. And look, we buy Maddison because what's the reports there on Maddison? 30 or something?
No, it's like
They're saying
60,
70.
70.
Oh, up there.
I don't think we should be buying, trying to get Maddison for that price. In all honesty,
It's
just-
a really difficult one because
Yeah.
I look at 10s that improve us. For me, Odegaard makes us worse.
God, absolutely
and-
agree. I hate the Odegaard links.
Yeah, but then you look at 10s, and the thing is with Maddison, and I've watched a hell of a lot of him, including before he went to Leicester. He's frustrating because he tries to make something happen all the time, and so he will give the ball away a lot. But his numbers, especially for chance created, are always high. And there is a caveat that it's because he tries to create a chance every time he has the ball, which can be frustrating because you're going to lose it a lot. But in terms of adding goals and assists from our midfield, which have been
It's
severely
single
lacking-
digits, isn't it?
Yeah, but the assists are single digits, but the chance created are insane. I think over the last 2 years, only De Bruyne has created more in the Premier League. So I think for me, I think the money's a bit rich, but then I look at who else I would bring in as a 10 who's going to have that sort of impact. And obviously we've got the homegrown thing and the longevity thing because of his age. And there's not much else. So it's a weird one. It's one of them where I kind of think 70 is overpaying, but then what would I do? And I don't really have an answer. And
One thing that I think of Maddison is consistency. He's consistent all the time. And it's similar to Granit. Like he is consistent. Like he's always there. He's always gonna be there. He rarely gets injured. As you said, Tony, somehow his numbers look good. And
we signed their physio today as well.
Oh, did we?
Yep.
There you go. Okay, boys, who else are we linked to? I'm reading. Well, let's talk about the Ben White transfer first before we get on a bit of rumour mill stuff. I am like 50 million Ben White. I am fucking happy as a pig in shit because you know why? Ben White. I can say his fucking name. I'm going to get a shirt this year with Ben White on the back.
Yeah.
Fucking
Do you know, there's a few things that not concern me about the deal. I think he's a very good player. Leno concerns me about the deal, and I said this before we signed Ben White. I don't see the point in having ball playing centre backs with a keeper that's allergic to a football. Makes no sense to me. So that worries me. I was actually really surprised on Sunday how aggressive Ben White is. Like going into duels on the halfway line and winning the majority of them. He must be a lot stronger than he looks because he's not the biggest boy. But going really well into battles. Obviously, his ball playing skills, his determination are what we know. I think he's a very good player. I just hope we have players around him that he's comfortable giving the ball to. I mean, like the second goal Chelsea scored, he gave the ball to Bellerin. Bellerin ain't got a clue what to do, so he just kicks the ball anywhere, regardless
Yeah.
if it puts a Chelsea
That
player
is
in.
my worry. Yep.
But this is the issue. So Ben White's got the ball. He looks to his right. He's got Bellerin. You don't really want to give him the ball. You look back to your keeper, and he's hiding in the crowd somewhere because he's scared of the ball. You look alongside you, and your other centre back's probably being pressured, and it's like, what the fuck do I do? Like, he's got all the ability in the world, but who's he pass the ball to? And then you end up just fucking going long, or he ends up having to beat someone to make that run into midfield to open up the space, and he's very, very good at that. But you can't be relying on your centre back to beat a man every time. Otherwise, just play a fucking winger at centre back. I really rate the player. I'm worried about what we've got around him.
I like him. I like him as a player. I really like him. Sorry,
I like him a lot.
Gignac, go, mate. Yeah, look, and I'm just reading Archie's comment. He said, I'm going to need my earbuds when Tez talks about Xhaka tonight. Mate, we have spoke about Xhaka, and there's a new man in the house, and that is Ben White. And he's going to win all the awards this season.
Tez just likes all the pretty boys. It's like a bit suspect.
I tell you what, he's a good-looking chap, though, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, and Ben White is going to be really interesting. We've paid a lot of money for him. Obviously, there's the English, premium that we need to pay, and my impression was that he's very aggressive. He nips at the players' heels. He nicks the ball off. He's sometimes played at CDM, and so my thing was how is he going to work with Gabriel, who seems to be our other left-sided center back, and they're both very aggressive, the front foot defenders. But I think I was listening to Arscast, or was it Arsenal Vision podcast, and I think they referenced a Michael Cox piece that was done on Ben White. So apparently when he played at Leeds, he was Michael Cox does this entire cat and dog analogy about defenders. I'm not going to get into that, but he was essentially one of those defenders that would stay back and kind of clean up. And I think the other centre back at Leeds, I forget his name, he was the one who was pressing forward and winning balls high up the pitch. And the roles kind of changed when he moved to Brighton. He was the more advanced centre back of the three, with Dunk and the other guy, Brewster, I think. What's his name? Yeah, whatever that guy's name is. Yeah, Webster. So they were the ones that were kind of mopping up behind him, and he was the one, pushing up front. So it's going to be interesting if Gabriel is the more front foot physical defender, and that's all that he's done in the 1 year that he's been at Arsenal. If Ben White is the one who's going to replicate his role at Leeds, or whether he's going to do the Brighton thing, where he's going to push up. Interesting to see how Arteta handles all of this.
I'm surprised people automatically think Gabriel's going to be the partner, because he's definitely going to start the season with Pablo Mari, and if they have a few half decent performances together, their skill set kind of complement each other. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's our partnership unless injury or suspension breaks that. Everyone just seems to assume straight away, it's going to be White and Gabriel, and I don't think it is. I mean, we still don't really know how long Gabriel's out injured for. He didn't go to the Olympics because of the injury, but he's not back with us training. He didn't go to the Copa America, so he should be back with us training. I don't really know what's going on, but our first game's not even 12 days away now. So people are going automatically, White and Gabriel. Gabriel is missing at the moment.
Well, Tony, when I look at our defenders, and I Ben White, I look at Ben White and I think, okay, Gabriel, we've got Pablo, and we've also got Chambers. And I look at that and I think, well, Pablo and Chambers for me is before Gabriel. I don't get me wrong, I don't dislike.
But Gabriel won't play. Gabriel and Pablo are obviously both left-footed and both playing for the left centre-back spot. So it's only between them two, unless obviously they're both injured.
You wouldn't throw Chambers in the mix there.
Yeah,
not on the left.
Chambers is going to be our starting right back.
He will start. Yeah, I agree.
On the right,
I said that a couple of weeks ago. We've got the issue is we've got 4 right backs and none of them are really good enough. Well, Ains refuses to play there. I like Cedric, but is he good enough for 38-game season? Probably not. Chambers has played out of his skin there, to be honest. But
Holding's the other one.
Yeah, Holding was obviously a right centre back, so
he's probably going to get skinned by anyone that has pace.
Yeah, but so you look at our right backs. Heck the shit. Ainsley refuses to play there and will probably be off. Cedric isn't good enough to be week in, week out, and Chambers is doing unbelievable, but he isn't a right back. And we end up doing weird things within there because he's not a right back. It's annoying because we really need to improve that. That would probably be second on my list after keeper, but it's just not going to happen. Like I said, we probably need to improve 4 or 5 things. And in a position where we've got 4 of them, we're not going to go and add another one. But for me, it's a shame because I think it's an issue. It's an area we're lacking massively. But I think we're going to go into the season with Chambers as first choice.
And Chambers is really weird as a right back. Like, he isn't fast, but he's got a good final ball. Can he overlap? Can he keep up with the pace of the game when it gets really, high tempo? He's played in midfield, so is he going to be the one tucking in?
Well, he has been, but it's
midfield?
weird because he tucks in like a centre back instead of a centre midfielder.
And then the odd thing is when he reaches the byline, he's probably got like a really good cross on him. So how do you mitigate for all of those things?
Yeah, and so it's just weird the stuff we end up doing with him, but he will be our first choice, which is.
And that is why, in terms of like squad construction, and I'm going to go into this because I think the last time I was here, I wanted to talk about it, but we never quite kind of got into that. So how is it that we're going to play it? Are we going to do that thing where we get into a 3 at the back with Tierney, stays back, Chambers moves in, Chambers stays back, or Tierney moves in? And in terms of that, how are we going? What's the profile of the striker that we're looking at? Arteta probably wants someone who's like a Firmino, because we've got a low touch player in Oba who he likes playing from the left. We've got Pepe, who's probably a really good finisher, doesn't create as much as we want him to. So we're essentially looking at someone like Salah or Mane in terms of the prototype, and I don't know. And so when you have that, what kind of a midfield are you looking for? Are you looking for something that has that is along the lines of the Manchester City 3, where there's a 6 who's pretty conservative, and then you have 2 free 8s? Or are we looking for a more functional, robust midfield like that of Liverpool? Or where is that line for us? And so in terms of like
the issue we have, I was talking about this yesterday actually on the group. I don't know if you was involved. Partey, do you play like his ideal partner? I don't know if it's someone who plays ahead of him or behind him. And that causes us a massive issue because they have to be so intelligent to be able to interchange, and then they also have to be very good at 2 or 3 different roles. In that sense, Partey kind of causes us a problem.
Yeah, and so this is people. I get a lot of hate for saying this, but I really like playing Partey as a 6, and it's always this, right? We're essentially going to be a team that is going to play against low blocks for most of the season, and against the bigger teams, it's going to be about pressing. It's going to be about playing on the transition. And I always go back to what Cruyff says, right? Defending is all about spaces. So if you have a team where you have people like Ben White and Gabriel, and you have Tierney, they're strong, they're fast, they're athletic, and you really push the lines. You really make it compact. And if you have to defend the size of a small garden, even with Partey, someone like Partey could very well be our deepest midfielder, and he offers a lot from deep. He's got that ball to the right back, to the left back. He's got the small chip right up to the striker. And then you could probably play someone like Maddison and Smith Rowe together. But again, if you don't have a system where you can really squish the lines, it probably doesn't work. And I don't think we have like a ready-made 6. Lokonga seems like a good 6, but I don't know if he's ready. So if it's Lokonga, then it would probably be Lokonga, Partey, and Smith Rowe. Or someone of that type, and when you're playing against teams in the upper half, I don't know if where does Xhaka fit in all of this? So in terms of construction is where I have a problem with personnel.
Yeah, as I said, it's very difficult because we're not going to go to a 6 with 2 people ahead of them, especially if it is Partey, because we feel we can bring too much coming forward. And then when he's out, replacing him is near impossible because Xhaka's so different, like completely different skill set, and it just leaves us too open. We are going to go with Partey, one other, seemingly Xhaka, and then a 10, be it Smith Rowe, or if we sign Maddison, and I'm convinced if we sign Maddison, Smith Rowe will play from the left. It's actually been really interesting in all our friendlies how Pepe's not really played on the right wing. And it's bugged me because Smith Rowe for me is much better from the left, but he's had a massive right side bias in all our friendlies, especially like when he's played with Pepe, because he basically becomes an auxiliary right winger and Pepe tucks in and is essentially a 9, which is how he ended the season and where Pepe's goals came from. I mean, you look at the last month of the season, I think he got 5 or 6 goals, but they weren't naturally coming from wide like a right winger. It's because someone, be it Smith Rowe, Odegaard, whoever covered his position, and then he went more central. So our makeup is difficult and going to be different, but I just think Partey, we need to, and I agree, I think it's as a 6, but we need to get a role out of him. And as Archie said, he needs to stay fit first. But we also need to have a role for him, and that's his role, because at the moment he can go and get the ball off the centre back. So then the other centre midfielder has to be higher up, and there's an advanced option in terms of for progressive passing. But then next thing you know, Partey is almost a 10 and pressing high up. So the other person has to be intelligent enough to then drop in and be a complete DM, and they also have the distribution skills that then they can take it off the centre back and find that progressive pass. And that, I think it's really hard to partner Partey because you have to do about 3 different jobs. Like, you're not a centre midfielder, you're not a DM, you're not an 8, you're not a 10. Like, I think we need to get him to do one job, and then we can get a partner who complements him, because at the moment it's impossible to complement him.
I think it's more to do with the system. Also, you need to build a system that facilitates, I think, Partey's skill set, and that is why I kind of like the idea of Gabriel and Ben White. You know, we press really high, we're front foot all the time, and in Leeds, Ben White was the one who was mopping up behind. So because with Pablo Mari,
you've said that a couple of times, Vaniak, but my only problem there is Tierney likes the push up. So then you're leaving, if you've got both of them guys pushing up on the left, you're leaving yourself short a little bit.
Yeah, and so essentially you need someone like, who I'm a big fan of, Sangare. he's very much like Lokonga or Partey, and he's really good defensively. Or you could even go for a Dennis Zakaria. I know people say, okay, Xhaka's the one who's...
Zakaria is nowhere near good. No, not even in the...
Yeah, I mean, before the injury, he was really good. You could bank on that in this market. No, so essentially, you need, if the way I see it is, Pepe is an inside forward, right? So you will need a right back to maintain with. The left-sided forward is Oba. You need someone like Tierney to push up. So you essentially end up with a shape much like Liverpool's. So you would need to make a box at the back with Gabriel, Ben White, or whosoever our centre backs are. I don't think you can push up with players like Mari. You're going to have distances just because they're going to, want to drop back. The midfield is going to be wide. You can't really have compact distances to work off, a good tempo while passing through. And so who is it? The missing piece. And this is where I say that, we need probably one more person or 2 more people in central midfield, because Smith Rowe's not going to play the entire season at 10. It's too much pressure. And then when you make that 4 at the back, which is your 2 centre backs, Partey and someone else, who is that someone else? And what kind of a player?
But this is the issue, as I'm saying, with Partey. We need a defined role because he doesn't sit like he did at Atletico when they had 300 centre midfielders all playing at the same time. But with us, as I said, he tries to do too much. And I said this last season, which is why I don't think he performed to the levels we were expecting. That they're just giving him, they're trying to make him do every job. It's like, what's your role today? And it's just like midfielder, go and do it all. And because of him doing that, that means his partner also has to do that, because they can't just sit, because then half the time they're going to have someone alongside them and they're going to be in each other's pocket, which is a waste of time. And then the other half of the midfield partnership is going to be 40, 50 yards apart. Atletico, he was quite clearly defined as they played 4 centre midfielders basically, because they played Llorente out wide and Saul out wide, who are essentially centre midfielders. But his clear defined role was he was the deepest of the 4 centre midfielders. With us, he has no clear defined role. You can watch 1 week, I think you do like an 8, he's a box to box. Next week he sits deep. We need a defined role out of him, otherwise.
Yeah, and I think Arteta is going to be best served asking him to be the deepest of the 3.
I agree. I don't think that will happen, but I agree.
And this is why this season for me is very important for Arteta, because we're actually going to see, the Arteta that we're all been hoping to see and changing things up and things like last season. A few of us were calling for his head. We've stuck with him. for me, this is I know Addy, he's frothing at the bit to sack him. Look, and it was frustrating last year for me as well. Like, but we've stuck with him, so we just got to hope that he can make these decisions, I guess. I'll read a couple of comments because you boys have been throwing them in. Archie, and this is more so for the podcast listeners, we all can be happy with Ben White, but if it means we don't sign midfielders, then the club have failed and Edu needs to go. That's a pretty massive call. Although I do agree, we definitely need to sign midfielders. We need to sign at least one more. And
I don't think we do. I think we find well, if you're accounting the 10 as a
we need
midfielder,
one.
I think we sign the 10, but I don't think we'll sign a
We need to.
midfielder.
We need to. And
I agree we need to.
I love the Bruno Guimaraes, links. If we can get him, like he's mobile, very technical, can play deep. Seems like of all of the people that we've been linked to, Guimaraes would probably be the most suitable candidate to be part of that double pivot or the partner to party that we've been.
I
looking for.
was just going to say I don't think it will happen, but his probably makes the most sense because then he's got a clear defined role and then you can hopefully get Partey into a clear defined role because he's got a partner alongside him that he knows is going to be basically his shield. But I don't think it'll happen.
Arteta won't get any second chance with fans back now after 6 games. Fans will probably turn, Archie says. And look, I agree. I think six games is I reckon after the first game, if people aren't seeing something, and Tony, you touched on these friendlies, it seems that he's trialing players in different positions and things like that. And this is the time to do it.
I don't think he's really trialing people in different positions. As I said, the way we ended last season was with Pepe tucked in and whoever was the 10 drifting right. It happened to be Odegaard, and I guess most of us probably thought that's just what Odegaard does because it is. But we've kind of done the same thing as Smith Rowe, and he's got a bit more license because he's got a bit more pace to drift a bit more. So he does pop up on the left and in 10s occasionally, but I don't think he's really trying anything out of the box in pre-season. I think it's pretty much all what we know, apart from we had some weird pressing system the other day. It was really weird because we pressed really well pre-season, but I don't know what the fuck we were doing the other day. It was absolute madness.
Dynasman, he says, I see Joe is on his way to Newcastle. Should we not hold on to him and use him as a 9, Tony?
Definitely don't use him as a 9.
Yeah, I mean, the first part, I don't think he's off to Newcastle because I don't think they can afford him. That it would be everyone's kind of ideal situation, but I don't think they've got the money. But yeah, no, 9 it's just not. He makes late runs into the box. If you're just in the box, then they're not late runs. His link up play is horrendous. His hold up play is slightly better than his terrible link up play, but still bad.
Rick says, I've only seen him in the Olympics. Premier League is obviously a different beast. I'm not sure who we're talking about there, but
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think he means the Copa America, not the Olympics.
No, Bruno's been playing in the Olympics.
Oh, okay. He was fairly decent in.
You
for
boys
Brazil.
been tuned in the Olympics much?
Not much football.
Not really.
It's funny Olympics, isn't it, this year? A loan spell, he does say. Donnersman says a loan spell. Archie's just said, so Tony thinks we'll just end up buying Maddison and that's it?
I think we'll get a keeper. I think we have to get a keeper. And I think we will. I don't know because we're trying for Lautaro Martinez, but I'm not sure if that's a kind of deal that's just like a one-off and we don't actually have any backups. But I know the links with Abraham are real, so I think we buy a 10, a striker, and a keeper. And I don't think that's enough because I think we need a right back and a centre midfielder. But here we are.
Positions, maybe we'll get to.
Yeah, sorry, Vinny. Keep your questions rolling in. I'm just gonna.
Also, by the way, I didn't say we're signing Maddison. I said a 10, just in case that comes back to bite me in the arse.
No, people don't fast forward this far. They listen to what you said before and fuck, I'm out. Just before, look, we'll get to more questions in the chat there, so keep them coming through. Also, I'm just going to do a quick fire with you guys. I'm going to look at our squad quickly. I just want sell, loan, or keep, okay? And that's all I want. I don't want a reason why. I just, yeah. Okay, I'll go around the table. Tony Leno.
Push off a cliff.
Vignac?
Sell if you find a replacement.
Yeah, I'm sell. I've got to say, Runnison.
Sell.
Strap him to
Nice.
Leno and push him off a cliff.
They're two young keepers there. I'm not even going to mention them though. David Luiz, he's off, gone, isn't it? Gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Man. He's gone.
Cedric.
Sell.
Sell.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go sell. Pablo.
Keep.
Keep for this season, maybe.
Yep, keep. I'm still seeing that this guy is signed with Arsenal, but I thought he was gone. Klosenak.
Sell.
He's still there, but sell. Well,
So,
there's an issue there. We're not going to get any money for him. Right, get rid of him. Sell is the loose term because we're going to buy him.
Chambers.
Keep.
Bellerin.
Sell.
Strap to Leno and Runnison and push him off a cliff.
Tierney.
Keep.
Keep.
Holding.
Keep.
Keep.
It's at the end.
Gabriel.
Keep.
Keep.
Harry Clark.
He's
Young
gone.
bloke.
Loan.
Gone. Oh, he's gone, has he?
Yeah, he's gone out on loan.
Another young bloke, Omar.
Omar. Loan.
I mean, we don't need to do these young players.
Granite.
Keep.
Keep. Because we haven't bought anyone. But if we do, possibly sell.
El Neni.
What Vinac just said, but different player.
Party.
Keep.
Keep.
Maitland-Niles.
Sell.
If you can convince him to play at right back, keep. Otherwise, sell.
Yeah, we're not. That's just unrealistic. Now I rate Ains, but at this point that's just unrealistic. So I'll take the money.
I thought this guy was gone too, but apparently he's still in our books. Tuera.
Sell.
Sell.
Oh, interesting. Nelson.
Sell.
Sell.
Willock.
Sell.
Sell.
Smith Rowe.
Keep.
Keep.
William.
Sell. Please. Please sell. Please.
Aubameyang.
Keep.
Keep.
Lacazette.
Sell.
Sell if you can get a replacement. Otherwise, keep.
Yeah, that's the obvious caveat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Pepe.
keep.
Eddie.
Sell.
Sell.
Just a point on Eddie. Best I've ever seen him play on Sunday. He was really good. I'll still sell him. Like, he was good on Sunday.
We're all going to keep Saka.
Mm-hmm.
Balogun.
Keep.
Do you loan him though?
No, that's the consideration, but I think you keep him.
No, I think you can. I think we should loan him.
For me, I think with 7 subs, no Eddie, because we've all just sold him. And if it looks like at the moment we're going to play the left Lacazette through the middle with what we've currently got, then your 2 attacking subs are Martinelli, who's not back at the start of the season anyway, and Balogun. So just to give him minutes and be in and around the squad. Remember, this guy's never really played much football. So for me, I understand loan, and I would understand it either way, but I think I'd keep him.
I'm so split. I don't know. I'll tell you why in a minute. But anyway, last one, Martinelli.
Yeah, keep.
Keep.
It's
Keep and
so
give
interesting.
lots of minutes. Keep and give
Yeah.
lots and lots of minutes.
It's very interesting with Balogun because I see links we're looking at signing Tammy Abraham. If that happens, I don't think you need to keep Bellingham. So
Yeah,
I'd
but
rather him alone, yeah.
that's at the expense of Lacazette. So that doesn't
Yeah.
affect
Oh,
Balogun
yeah,
at all,
Lacazette.
really,
I forgot
apart from
about him.
management. If we get a striker, be it Latoro, who I don't think will happen, Tammy Abraham, I think has more chance of happening, or
Yeah.
similar. That Lacazette will go, and it will probably be a caveat that we can't sign whoever until Lacazette's out the door.
Rick, that was my next point. That's why I wanted to read the names out, because listening you read the names out, Rick, says it actually makes you realise how weak our midfield is. And I was absolutely thinking exactly the same thing. As soon as I come to the midfield, and Tony, no disrespect, but you were like, oh, fifth option. And then we're like, oh, but we might need one more. I'm looking now and I'm starting to think, fuck.
We definitely need one more, but the issue is he's going to start Xhaka and Partey if they're fit. So someone to come and start above that is going to be a 35, 40 million pound player. Are they going to do that when they think they need a striker? They know they need a 10. They fucking better hope they needed a keeper. And for me, I think right back's more important, but it won't happen.
Who's our right back options? Bellerin goes.
The same as they are now, because Bellerin should be fourth choice.
Chambers going to start.
Yeah, Chambers will
Cedric's
start,
probably
but then
gonna-
you've got Cedric and Ainge if he decides to play there, which he probably won't.
I mean, Ainsley is probably going to get sold.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
So we don't buy a replacement?
We should
I
do.
think right-
No, we need to buy a first choice
We
right
need
back.
to. I
We
don't
have
think.
Okay.
We have
I don't
four
think
I was just
we
trying to get my head around when you said that. That's all. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think midfield is probably, in my opinion, the most pressing issue. And then you have like striker possibly, and then keeper right back in that order.
For me, it's keeper by an absolute distance. Like nothing's even comparable in my head.
Yeah.
I don't understand how we can have a keeper that gives the ball away 15 times a game.
Yeah,
That doesn't
it's
command his
becoming-
area, makes good saves occasionally, but pushes everything back out straight in front of him. Like,
It becomes sad now, isn't it? Watching him, like it's almost like
honestly, the
Yeah.
other day it was ridiculous because I know I used to be in a minority that thought he was shit. And then the other day being there, obviously it wasn't full, it was only a friendly, but it was more, it got to a point where, not me, because I think he's shit and he annoys me, but people were just like feeling sorry for him. He was that bad. Like, you know, when you get that fat bloke in the Olympics who shouldn't really be there and he takes 3 hours to run the 100 meters and you don't
His
think, oh, he's
confidence
shit,
looks
you feel
shot.
sorry for him.
His confidence looks shot to pieces, man.
But that's for his own doing. If he keeps giving the ball to the other team strikers, no one else can help that. And then your confidence is going to go down. But learn to pass to the geezers in red and you'll probably be all right.
I got nothing, but hey, you're not wrong. I'm agreeing with you, but it's just when you actually say it like that, it's like, fuck, this bloke's a professional Arsenal goalkeeper. Like, and
Do you know what
we're
was mad the other
talking
day?
schoolboy errors.
He came out and claimed a corner the other day really well. And everyone was like, fuck me, he's actually left his line. Like, since when's that happened? And then he tried to play a 40-yard ball and played it about 4 yards straight to a Chelsea player. And everyone was like, you are actually taking the piss. The first time you caught a ball in years.
I know what you're talking about.
And
But I mean, yeah. Speaking of which, the French market is ripe for the picking. So I don't know if we're going to be smart enough and look at some deals there too.
I couldn't tell you if there was any on there would like.
Well, it's another
I'm just
midfielder,
thinking-
link, isn't it? Renata.
Leon looked like they want to get rid of a few players, don't they?
Well, yeah, that's it.
Really?
We haven't mentioned. We
Yeah.
haven't mentioned Awar. We haven't mentioned. Well, obviously Bruno's from Lyon, but we haven't mentioned. Who did I just say?
Then there's
Oh,
other-
Renato, who's strongly linked with.
Leon's
so-
got Max Hans Kakaret that I really like. You know.
Yeah, I think they're planning to hold on to him, which is the reason why they'll accept pretty much anything for Awar if you believe reports, because they don't want anyone near Kakare. They don't have to sell. They don't need a fire sale. They just need to sell one or two to balance the books. I mean, I know Bruno was trying to force his way out to Dortmund earlier in the summer, and Dortmund basically didn't want to pay the money. I don't know if that's changed now. They've got Sancho money in. It doesn't seem to have. But then while they've had that money, Bruno's been away. So that's something.
Daniel Malin to Dortmund is a fantastic piece of business.
I think Roma were looking at him.
Who, Marlon?
I think so. Could be wrong. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. They're looking at another midfielder. because they didn't get Granit. So it was cheaper than Granit, obviously. Yeah, can't remember who it was. It was one from Dortmund. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, boys. Where else? Who else we're linked with? Temi was about the one that I was thinking of.
I think Lukaku will end up at Chelsea, and I think I said that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he will, which means Lautaro doesn't go anywhere because he won't sell both. And obviously that means that Chelsea have then spent money, so Tammy's price probably comes down a bit. I would say Abraham is probably the most likely at the moment.
But again, we don't know about Inter, isn't it? They might just sell for the money.
I don't think they will. Because they've got to still remain competitive. They need Champions League football. They need all that. Like they can't just get rid of all their players and then go down the ladder and get relegated and try, because the money's not there.
They would rather sell Lautaro for sure, but obviously the money's more for Lukaku. He would happily go to Chelsea. It just seems like an easier deal to do than us getting Lautaro, who I know he said he would be willing to go to Arsenal, but I mean, look, let's be honest, he's going to have his sights set on bigger prizes, so he'd be more than happy to wait a year and have more money.
Apparently in for Koundé too, right? I mean, Zuma's supposed to go the other way.
No, Zuma's refused.
Oh, he's refused, has he?
He's refused. He said he wanted to stay in London, so West Ham went for him, but they're about 5 million apart on the valuation, and apparently Zuma wants really high wages as well.
Speaking of Tottenham, completely randomly, they've got this player, haven't they? Brian Hill from Sevilla.
Yeah, and Romero's done as well.
Yeah, they've got some decent business.
All depends if it's the Kane money being spent, really.
Mm-hmm.
They're still not really a complete team. You look, Lloris, I don't particularly rate. I mean, he's better than Aridiot, but
yeah, I mean, I think he's gone the same way De Gea has gone. I think he's peaked and now,
Yeah, but I mean, you go through the Tottenham team, and as I said, Lloris, whatever you think of him, Reguilon can't defend, good going forward. They've got 300 right backs that can't defend. Romero starts with fuck knows who, Dyer's shite, Rodon's not ready, Sanchez is shit. Then you look at Holding, you look at their midfield, Højbjerg is a water carrier, and Ndombele I rate, but Tottenham have never really got anything out of him. Lo Celso's good. You go wide right, they're losing Bale. If they got Lucas, not good enough. Bergwijn, not good enough. Son, obviously, Klaas and Kane, if he can be asked to turn up to training this class.
Really like Son.
Son's unbelievable. He's the best finisher in the league for me. But they're still, like, so you say it looks like they're doing well, but they're still only really got 6 players. And look, that may be more than what we've got, but I'm not looking at Tottenham thinking, shit, they've done amazing business, I'm worried about them. And then you also look at their manager and you go, is he a guy that's going to get them top 4?
I'm not worried about Tottenham at the moment.
Also, who's their manager right now? Or have they got one?
Nuno Espirito Santo.
Yeah, Nuno.
Nuno, right? I forgot.
Yeah. Look, he's a good manager. I just don't know if he suits them. So
I don't rate Nuno a whole lot. I didn't want him at Arsenal when the links came in. So yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I was just reading Roma. It's Thomas Delaney.
Oh, the guy from Dortmund.
Yeah,
he's half decent.
Yeah, that was who Roma was.
Least sounding Danish man on earth. Just quickly, I was skimming through some news whilst listening to you boys talk. Joe Hart, he's off to Celtic, so I'm going to actually keep a little eye on Celtic this year because you said that. I was going to message you when they lost the other day because I know as soon as they win, you're going to bang on about Australia and kangaroos and shit. So as soon as they lost, I was going to message you.
Actually, I do feel for him, and I was trolling through the Celtic feeds, because I wanted to get their fans' thoughts and stuff. I know nothing. I'll be honest. I don't. I watch a little bit now because of Ange, and the Australian links and stuff. But it was interesting. Apparently, their board is just not backing nothing and not spending money and things like this. I don't know how Joe Hart.
They won the league 9 years in a row, and obviously they just missed out on the 10th. But they've done that while pretty much selling their best player every year and still winning the league. Obviously, they sold KT. And they're just so used to losing players, and that's how they're funded by big transfers, basically. And it was fine while they kept winning the league, but now they've not won the league. They're used to having one big sale a year. I mean, they sold a guy to Brentford. I think it's completed for 13 or so million. And as I said, they're not used to reinvesting. So now he's got to try and do it on the cheap and get players in at a much lower rate. But they're quite a long way behind Rangers. And then look, Rangers went unbeaten last year, and Celtic have already lost their first game of the season. So it tells you kind of what kind of battle Celtic are facing. But
they got
then,
beat by the
they're spending money.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's strange. So look, I hope so. But Joe Hart, he's off there. So
they've had real issues with their keeper, to be fair. So it's probably a good signing.
So is that? As I was going to ask, is that a step up for him? Is it?
I'd assume so. I mean, you never know. Joe Hart, he was 5-6 years ago. He would have probably got into most Premier League teams. Now he kind of seems a bit of a laughing stock.
Yep. Another one was Barcelona. Titi. They're looking at getting him off the books. So.
Well, they're trying to get everyone off the book.
They're trying to get everyone off the book.
Everyone's looking at going off, but he was the one player that actually says agreement reached. I don't know who.
He had refused. I know that, but I don't know if that's changed.
Okay.
It makes me so happy that Barcelona are in like a clusterfuck. Like so happy. I still hold that entire fiasco.
It doesn't make me happy at all.
Every time I go back to that Champions League final, it triggers me so much. I probably need therapy. Like when they're in debt, I was like, yes, I hope they go bankrupt, which they never will, but one can hope.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And then they put out their figures on what they earned, and I'm like, how the fuck are you going broke? Like, really?
Because they paid them that money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Barcelona's recent transfer business has been absolute shit.
I didn't realise. Anyway, just a couple more. Chelsea bidding 120 million. Of course, Inter won't refuse that. That's for Lukaku. Isn't it crazy? Like, Lukaku, his value, what did he go for? What did Inter buy him for?
Not much, but he had a shit time at Man United. But
Man United, that was the big transfer.
60 or 70 or something like that.
Yeah, and then he went to Inter. Yeah. It's funny, that one.
This happens all the time, especially Lukaku's style of play at the time. It was never going to suit United. And then he had the weight issue that was undiagnosed, or the digestive issue, I should say, which definitely didn't help. So I wasn't surprised he didn't do what people expected at Man United. To be fair, I'm probably surprised he's done what he's done at Inter, but fair play to him.
Okay, boys, that's about it. We're just dribbling on with a bit of shit now, and I'm just looking at some other newses and stuff. But thank you, everybody, for still listening, I guess. This is just a general conversation that we usually have off air. So, thanks for popping on, Vignac.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Good, mate, and good stuff. And we'll put these out again for patrons. These kind of shows are good because I get to chat to you boys and chat to listeners and stuff. So, and once again, thank you for all you patrons for your support, and thank you everybody for jumping in on the YouTube comments. Whatnot. Thank you for downloading, listening, everything. Yeah, muchly appreciated. So, just one last one. He says, "Where's the Arsenal bros, mate?" Arsenal. Who's the fuck's Arsenal, bro?
Max.
Oh, Max. Yeah, Max. I haven't heard from Max. He's been very quiet. He did have a little baby the end of last season, so I'm told he's doing a lot of time fathering. I don't know why, but he was in COVID lockdown in Melbourne, and then he opened up his bar again when they came out of lockdown. So he was pushing, a heap of shit, work, babies, family. No time for podcasts, I think. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, boys. Cheers, Tony.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Good night and goodbye. See you later.